name is Elizabeth Venable, and I'm in a band called Sad Horse, and I've been doing booking here at the Sons of Haiti Lodge with Ben Fischel on and off for the last, 5 or 6 months. I've done booking in the past. I booked at Valentine's, downtown Portland, and have worked with bands a lot and been in bands for most of my life now. For, I guess, like the past 5 years, on and off, I was doing a program called Variable that started out as kind of a variety show that people would host in their homes, and I would try and have it at different homes. And I was trying to do once every month or two, and it would be like a band and a lecture and tap dancing or whatever, like 4 short, small acts. And then I started trying to do that event in spaces that were not venues. I don't know if you remember the Ulysses barbecue shack that used to be on 15th and Killingsworth, but I did one there in their parking lot and was trying to kind of incorporate the idea of getting into spaces where you wouldn't normally be, or might even be uncomfortable to be, or a place that you've driven by, or a place that is not going to last, that maybe to try and get people to have an association with that space, and kind of bringing about issues about gentrification or neighborhood changes. So I did one of those here and talked to John Bryant, who's the owner of the space, and it was really great talking to him, and he's been super generous about just giving me the keys and really trusting me in the space. And that event was really great. And then my partner in booking here, Ben, and I were talking about the lack of venues that there are for all ages shows, especially with the closing of Slabtown and a bunch of other clubs last year. And wondering about house show scenes, but not really in the know as far as that stuff goes. And we started talking about doing shows here because I had that other event here and had kind of a friendship with John, the owner, already. And it happened really easily and awesomely because Ben and I were talking about kind of our fantasy show, which would be 2 bands, not 4 or 5 bands, but 2 bands, early shows, so kids can come and people can go on with the rest of their night if they want to go like party all night or whatever. All ages, and bands get paid. And that is kind of what we planned the first one to be. It was my band Sad Horse and this other band Magic. And we had just gotten back from a tour, so there were a lot of people for our homecoming show already. And it went so well, and we have sliding scale donations from $5 to $10, and a lot of people were paying over. And so far, we can cover the cost of the space, which John gives us a discount on, which is rad, and pay the bands better than a lot of places around town, at least, like not $0 and not $20, but like upwards of that. So it's been really great. And here especially I think is important, just in kind of helping each other out, which is something that I had talked with John about. Like, I think that this may be the last Black-owned business on Mississippi Street, and a lot of that community, of course, is kind of getting pushed out, or at least poorer communities. And this building has kind of fallen apart, and they've gotten a bunch of shit from the city about the food carts and maintaining the building and all that crap. So kind of being able to pull people into this place and see that it's not this scary rundown building on the corner, but that you can also rent it for your event, and it's really accessible, and it's easy, and it's a beautiful space, and it has a lot of character. And in helping him out, maybe we can help our community out, which is kind of more of the DIY, I guess, punk scene. I kind of have a problem with that stereotype, but people in the music, kind of weirdos in the music scene that are trying to get support and places to play as well. I guess I'm not sure how I want to say it. Gentrification and kind of how our ideas of safe spaces which in Portland, as progressive as I think it can be, tends to be really safe, and people don't do a whole lot outside their comfort zone, and especially in the music scene, I think, like the kind of hipster vibe here, a lot of the music and art can play it kind of safe here. So kind of trying to push that and just get people in different spaces and realizing they're not being threatened, and that can be enjoyable even if it's not their culture necessarily of people. How this neighborhood has changed in the last 10 years, certainly 20, I don't know, it's pretty amazing. But this building itself too is kind of falling apart from the outside. A lot of people don't know what it is. So trying to get people into this space and getting them to realize too that it's a super accessible space, and you can rent this space, and this space has karate classes for kids here, and they have church services and parties and comedy nights and all this stuff. But because it's not like the hip culture that we're used to, it tends to get neglected. So it's been really satisfying to get people in here and looking around and really enjoying the space. And it also sounds fantastic in this room. As far as future goes, I'd like to keep booking shows here with Ben. It would be great to have other venues that could be available, but it is just a lot of work too. And when you're not getting paid, and we try to pay ourselves like $20 if we can per show to set it up. And I mean, Ben brings the PA head and does all the sound, and I kind of take care of all the other crap. And it's hard to do that if you have a busy life too, and he's in like 2 bands at least right now as well. So booking more than 1 or 2 shows a month I can't imagine how to do that unless we had like a team of people that didn't get paid, who may or may not be able to be accountable for like what they're doing. So like right now, just working with Ben is great, just having the 2 of us. But I don't know for the future like what more is possible. It would be great to get paid and have all the time and the money to set up cool shows like this, like every weekend or even twice a week, and have 2 band bills. I guess that would be a dream if I could get like some grant money or something, like do 2 band bills a couple nights a week and somehow get paid for that. That'd be fantastic. And be able to pay the bands. Sure. Yeah. That's not necessarily true, but there is kind of the fine print in booking here is that there needs to be women playing. So you can be woman in however you identify as that. But we haven't had a single show yet that's just 2 bands with all men. I don't really have like a parameter necessarily about cis men or whatever. There just needs to be women playing. Like there just needs to be women playing. The more the better, if you ask me. And so far, I think every show has been at least 50-50, if not more women than men. So it's kind of worked out great, and I've only really had to tell. I mean, we organize this. We don't usually get bands coming to us to book here. We pick who we want to see here, which maybe is fair or not fair. I don't know. It's fine. It works for us. But we do want to keep it weirder. Like there's plenty of venues to see metal shows. There's plenty of and the dude vibe in those places. You feel it, and you feel it here when it's not that. And there's a lot of women that come to the shows and that are playing, and it's just a different vibe, and I really want to keep it that way. Like, it's not even a straight, like a hard and fast rule. There may be a night that it's 2 dude bands, and I'm not going to fight for it. Like, that's okay, but I just want to keep it not that as much as possible. And it's good because it makes you do a little research too. And even for me, and like making this list, me and Ben had this meeting, and we're making this list of women musicians in town, and there's the main ones that are our friends and we know them, and beyond that we're like, who else is there? And opening up the Weekly or the Mercury and seeing what's out there, and it makes us kind of check out the scene a little bit more and see what we like too, but also see what other women are playing, which is still just stupid how male dominated the music scene is. Yeah. It's just so tiring. It sucks too because like I think it's a real thing of trying to bring women into scenes or things that you have to make these rules about it. And it seems like it's nobody wants to make that rule. Like I don't want to say there needs to be women playing, but I feel like I have to say that because when you don't it just becomes male dominated. And making that rule takes about that much to think, like that much extra to just even it out a little, like, but I don't want to fucking make a rule about it. It's so stupid because then I'm like the fucking weird feminist, you know? Like I don't want to get into that. Like I want to, so I don't usually talk about like that rule unless somebody's trying to book a show and they're like, oh, I want to play with this other dude band. I'm like, oh, here's the fine print on that. But love you to play. Just give me, some other bands or I'll think of some stuff, but it just can't be a dude night. I'm not going to do it. I guess in the closing of all those venues, I think all the venues being like Slabtown, East End. Right. It was like 5 places that kind of stopped or closed. I think I would actually be curious to talk to somebody like Robert who books over at the No or something about how that's affected them because I know that they're slammed with bands contacting them all the time to play. So I'm sure that made that more, and also I would imagine kind of pushed the scenes into other areas, and then it becomes a little bit about money too and competition. As far as I go, I have been contacted by some bands and also by other people who want to book shows here, which I absolutely encourage people to book shows here. I don't need to be the only one doing this. I'm not in charge of the space. John Bryant, the owner, is super accessible. Okay, I could tell you his number. Please call him, get the space. He needs the money, so I would be happy if there were shows here every night. I just don't have the energy for it. But trying to, like what Ben and I do here is definitely trying to keep it on that last tip, like kind of keep it not whatever mainstream punk or indie or whatever that is now. I don't like just keeping it a little bit more interesting and weird, but also, well, I guess that's what I mean. Like keeping it accessible to people who maybe don't fit in those other spaces. And there is, I mean, the No's booking a lot of shows. High Watermark is open now. Blackwater is open now. But those are all pretty like punk, rock, metal scenes, which there's nothing at all wrong with. But I think that there's still a lot of bands that aren't really, they don't really find their fit with the venues that exist right now. So in booking shows here is also kind of an attempt to find a fit for my weirdo buddies. And it's really easy to do that. And like your house can be that. And maybe people are doing that in their houses. I don't know the house scene here so much anymore. And I hope that kids are doing it. But especially for kids to be able to go see shows, like you can't do that. I guess Blackwater, you can do it at Blackwater, but that's the only place I think you can go see a show if you're a kid. And I'm sure that's not true, but I can't think of another one off the top of my head, unfortunately. So, yeah, Slabtown was a big one. There were some good kids there. It was really cool to see that scene too as an adult and get to see what kids are up to.
So, Sad Horse.
Sad Horse was born in my old attic, presently Jeff's attic, my bandmate. Consists of 2 members, myself and Jeff Soul. Jeff is a phenomenal drummer who decided to play guitar in this project, and I'm a decent guitar player who decided to start learning drums for this project. So it started out pretty endearing and has taught me the drums now these years later. I don't know. I actually have, when people ask what we're like Minutemen usually comes in there, but maybe it's more of a vibe of that than a sound. Like we're definitely a really playful, high energy, a lot of short, screamy songs, but kind of weird ones in there too. Yeah, kind of all over the board. Maybe used to be more punk rock sounding than the stuff we're playing now is a little bit more song driven in a different way. I think that we're going to have our record release for the Best of Sad Horse vinyl that Mississippi Records is putting out on the 1st of January at the Mississippi Record Store. And it has, I think, 37 songs on it, and we're going to play all of them, but it's only about a 40 or 45 minute long record. So maybe that gives you some idea of what we're like. Jeff was in a band called Fuck that was pretty popular in the Bay Area in the 90s. They're a Matador band, a really great band. And he also has done a lot of solo stuff that has varied from rock to weird jazz. And he's been in a bunch of other bands. I have also done some solo stuff and have a solo record that's very different from Sad Horse. It's more kind of weird singer-songwriter stuff. I played in a band called The Naysayer a while back when I was living in New York, and just a lot of stuff since I was 15, I guess. Yeah.
Cutting loose, he's drinking